Hey guys, welcome to a video on 3 things which I wish I knew before I started Meta Ads. Now, I've been doing Meta Ads for a while now, I'd say over 2 or 3 years. So I run events and basically I use Meta Ads to promote the events, and I also do it full time at work. So I've had quite an experience with Meta Ads, I know my way around, and currently I've had my most highest performing advert, which is crazy, with like a 6% click-through rate. But anyway, these are 3 things I wish I knew before I started. So first is going to be the difference between campaign level, ad set level, and ads level. So when you open up Ad Manager for the first time, you'll come across a page that looks something like this. And basically you'll see campaigns, you'll see ad sets, and you'll also see ads. And this can be quite confusing, but basically these folders are folders within each other. So you can kind of look at it like, for example, you have continents, like let's say Europe, and then you'll have countries within the continent, for example, Spain, and then you'll have cities within the country, for example, Barcelona. So here, the campaign level would be the continent, the ad set level would be the country, and then the ads would be the city. So like these are parts within each other. So understanding that is essential. Yeah, what's the difference between them? Like, why is it broken up like this? So I'm going to click edit on one of the campaigns. This is a campaign which is currently running, even though it's preparing anyway. But so let me just, before we go ahead, this is called Booty Call because I have an advert that says your Saturday night booty call as an advertisement for my R&B event. So before that looks a bit dodgy, let's just get that out of the way. But anyway, campaign level. So this is really basic, very top level. Not much goes on here. Basically just your campaign name. So what are you doing? Are you offering 20% off promotion? Are you launching a new store? In my case, this is called DND9 because this is my 9th event. So I've just called it DND9. And here you also do things like you can set a budget on this level. So if there's a max budget you want to spend on the whole campaign, you can set it at this level. And then also there's this thing called lifetime budget where you might not have a daily budget spent. You might just say, hey Meta, here's £200, do what you want for the next 2 weeks with it. And then also you can choose to A/B test. So not much goes on here. And then finally, the campaign details. So what is your actual objective? It will ask you this as you create your first campaign. So here is traffic. I want to get as many clicks as possible through to the website. But yours might be sales, or it might be reach. You might want to show your advert to as many people as possible, brand awareness. So there's different objectives and you can see them, but basically it's just very top level. Ad set level is the next level down. So we've got the campaign, we've named it. We don't want to set a budget on this level. We've named it, we've set its objective. Now let's go down to the ad set level. And here basically it's a lot more intricate. I'd say this is probably one of the it's all important, but this part especially you need to make sure you get right. So why do we have ad set levels? So you can basically have multiple ad sets within one campaign. So if I have a campaign for this 20% promotion, I might have an ad set with ads advertising to women, so it might have female models, and then I might have an ad set targeted towards men, so it might have male models. And ad set levels where you set things like your audience type, so that was an example of that. Or you might want to use it to test things. So because again, audience types, you can choose your location. So you might want to say, okay, how are these ads performing in Manchester compared to London? So you might have 2 ad sets, maybe ads for London, ads for Birmingham, or you could have ads for girls, ads for boys, or you might have ads for London girls, etc. You get the point. So that's ad set level. We will scroll through a few options. So here, for example, I've set my daily budget here. So you might realize, okay, I want to spend £8 a day on ads geared towards women, and then I want to spend £5 a day on ads geared towards men. So here you can really get in with your budgets if you're not choosing to do a lifetime budget, which would be at campaign level. So I hope that will make sense. Very confusing, but again, this is your audience controls. So you choose if you want to use Meta's Advantage Plus, which is their AI, or if you want to be bringing in your own audience type. But we're going to talk a little bit about that later. And then you also can choose placements. So again, ad set level is basically you telling Meta where do you want it to go, who do you want it to go to, and how much you want to spend on that specific set of adverts. And then finally, we have the actual adverts themselves, which is why we have some funny names here. So for under this ad, I only have one ad set for this because my campaigns are pretty streamlined for my events currently. I could make it more complex if it was bigger. For example, I might have ads for Birmingham, then I might have ads for Manchester and Target separately, and then run them side by side with different budgets. That's an example of when I'd do that. But here I've kept it very streamlined. So I have 5 different ad creatives. So this is where the actual creatives come in. So the actual pictures that your viewer sees, this is what your audience will actually see. They don't see any of this, but this is what they'll actually see. So here I have 5 different creatives. I have 4 reels and I have 1 flyer. Now currently I only have 1 running, which is my video ad 1 because it's my best performing. But I started with 5 and then I optimized down accordingly. So let's take a look at the flyer. So this is just an image, and then this will literally just be whatever you want. It could just be a picture. It could be a carousel, and then you manually upload it. And then this is also where you do all the text and all the headlines, etc. And you might want to test different ones and such. So that's ad level. That is ad creative level. And then, like I said, you can also do reels. So this is my best performing reel. And then you can see this, well, not that one actually, it's this one. But again, this is where you sort out your call to action, which is the button they're going to be pressing, sort out all your tracking. And yeah, this is where you actually get creative. That's why we call them ad creatives. Meta's really been pushing its AI. Personally, I don't always use it. It'll tell you things like this, but it's not necessarily true all the time. Like I said, this is my highest performing advert I've ever created, and I'm not using any kind of AI. Like, I created my own audience, I wrote my own copy, so that's just something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind on this level is that if you're advertising across Facebook and Instagram, you need to alter your advert. So you need to make sure you have the ad creatives in different formats. For example, like a vertical video for when people are going across stories, and then obviously for when it's actually in their feeds, which will be a little bit more square and such. You need to make sure whenever you create your creatives, you create them in all different formats, because I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone in thinking I've got it all sorted, then realise I have to make another 2 versions of the same advert just so that it can display in different areas. So yeah, that's the difference between campaign level, ad set level, and ad level. I hope that breaks it down a little bit. It is confusing, but like I said, the more you use it, the more you'll understand, and the more you'll be able to test, because it enables flexibility. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is placement. So this is something I wish I knew, because when I ran ads for the first time at my place of work, we witnessed something which was very odd. So I'll show you. This is on ad set level. So we'll go to ad sets, which is this little sign. And basically I wasn't aware that you can actually choose where to show your adverts. So I'll show you how it usually comes up. What you'll find is that Meta will default you to have Advantage Plus placements. So basically it will use its AI magic to choose where to show your adverts. Now that's fine, I generally have it set to that. However, what I didn't realise is that you can manually choose where it shows it, because obviously Meta covers both Facebook, Instagram, and what a lot of people don't know is the Facebook audience network. So I'll get into that in a second, but basically if you're looking for the manual option, there'll be a little sign here that says edit. You can click that, and then the manual placements option will pop up. So then if you click manual placements, you can actually, here is where you can actually make these changes. So what I found when I was at my place of work is that we had great reach. We were reaching so many people. Our impressions were crazy. Like, we literally hit the millions. But it was showing it on the audience network, and we weren't sure what the audience network was. And it turns out, all those little games on the App Store, you know, like when you need to get coins or skip an advert, it was showing it there. That's where most of the placements were going. So we stopped it from showing on the audience network and only limited it to Facebook and Instagram. But I wish I knew, because we spent a lot of budget with it going out to that audience network, which wasn't ideal. Now, I will argue that Meta is generally good at this, because like I said, I usually just have it on automatic Advantage Plus, and it works fine for my events because it usually just goes to Instagram anyway. So I'm not going to complain in that sense. But if you need to know how to limit it, so maybe you only want maybe you've got a goal of getting profile clicks, then you'd only want, or it might be likely that you only want people to see it on Instagram. And this is where you would adjust that. So that's something I wish I knew. So finally, to conclude, is audiences and what audiences are. So here you can see there's a list of different options. And audiences is where you build your audiences essentially, and more specifically, creating an audience and how confusing it is. So there are 3 options when you click create an audience. There's custom audience, which is pretty much when you draw data. So it might be an email list, it might be website traffic, but there's lots of businesses, yours might be one of them, that don't necessarily have that data. So that would be pretty useless. Lookalike audience, which is basically when it will use an audience that's already there and try and create lookalike audience and test to see, okay, can we make something similar to this? and then there's saved audience, and you'll see it separate. Saved audience is what you want to go to if you want to create your own handmade, home built audience. So this is when you want to click, and then this is where you build your audiences. Now, like I said, you can do this all in Instagram when you boost a post, but it's not recommended. It costs more, and you can't be as specific with your targeting. So currently the one I'm using is this one, and you can see I have 2 levels. So my audience, which I've created, must have one of these, so an interest in any of these artists, and must have interest in concerts, clubbing, bars, etc. So I've created a very narrow audience, but it's worked because, like I said, I've had my highest performing advert yet. But my point is, that's where you create an audience. Make sure you click saved audience as opposed to using these, because you can draw data, but your best way of creating your own is obviously through saved. But obviously it depends on your business's needs, and that's where again you can choose your age, minimum age, your maximum age, instead of having or feeling like you have to use Meta's AI. So that's going to be everything, guys. I hope you found that insightful. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe, and if you want some more videos, let me know, and I'm happy to go through more Meta stuff because I absolutely love this. So yeah, peace.